Well, the Trump administration also denies that it spoke too quickly when it claimed more than a week ago that the USS Carl Vinson was headed toward the Korean Peninsula when it was actually going in the opposite direction. Last week, Defense Secretary Mattis said it was prudent to have the ship in the region, quote, at this time. Here's how he clarified things yesterday.
We said that we were going to change the Vinson's upcoming schedule. The Vinson, as I said on the record, was operating up and down the Western Pacific, and we were doing exactly what we said, and that is we are shifting her. Instead of continuing in one direction as she pulled out of Singapore, she's going to continue part of her cruise down in that region, but she was on her way up to Korea. We don't generally give out ship schedules in advance, but I didn't want to play a game either and say we were not changing a schedule when in fact we had.
The New York Times reports that South Koreans, quote, feel cheated after U.S. carrier miscue. The Wall Street Journal went with the headline, "Duped by Trump," excerpting a Chinese news site that declared, quote, media around the entire world have been duped by Trump again. One candidate for South Korean president, a member of the ruling party there, told the Journal that if the warship claim was a lie, then, quote, during Trump's term, South Korea will not trust whatever Trump says.
I must say, we really don't care what the South Koreans think of us at this exact moment as much as we care about what the North Koreans think about us at this moment. So, Kathy, what happened?
My understanding is that the president got this information from the Pentagon that there was the Vinson in the area. They could send it up to the Korean Peninsula, but the timetable seems to be what was confused. You heard Mattis's clarification only made me a lot less unclear about what was happening. Yeah. But if you read through it carefully, it does sound like what he's trying to say is, listen, we will send it to the Korean Peninsula. We just weren't going to send it there immediately.
We were going to finish up our exercises. They were going to finish their exercises first and then send it out.
Is what they called it, and then we were going to send it up there. But for Donald Trump, who is a man who likes to be seen to project strength and to project strength now, he said, we're sending that armada. It's going to be great. And again, I think it was a little bit of the risk of Trump overhyping something that didn't live up to totally its promises, and allies like South Korea being left feeling, was this deliberate deception or was it a snafu and a miscommunication between the Pentagon and the White House?
Right. Well, Jeremy Peters, you have enemies like North Korea scratching their head, trying to figure out exactly what's going on.
A competency issue.
Yeah, I mean, part of it feels like an episode of Veep, and then part of it feels like just a genuine miscommunication, misunderstanding about what, I mean, but this is what I don't understand. So it's going there, right?
Right.
Like it's going.
So what's the big deal?
What's the big deal?
Well,
exactly.
Yeah, Kathy, that's what I was thinking yesterday. Everybody was like trying to figure out where it was charted out. And by the way, if the North Koreans are a little confused, there's this great Dizzy Dean quote. They asked him at the end why he was such a great pitcher. He said, sometimes it's not a bad thing for the batter to think you're a little crazy. Well, as David Ignatius said very early on, sometimes it's not a bad thing to put the Chinese back on their heel. I think this is a big nothing burger.
I do too.
There's nothing to it.
You don't want to be seen to be looking slightly incompetent and like the communication between the Pentagon and the White House.
You know what, though? I've got to
in
say,
case,
when you're going up against the North Koreans, I'm sorry, I may be the only one here that says this. When you're going up against the North Koreans, it's just like about Putin. Putin is back on his heels right now. For the first time in probably 10 years, we struck him in Syria when he thought that he had played Donald Trump.
And how has he responded?
And how has he responded?
To support Syria more strongly is how he's responded.
Well,
but I
still don't think he's responded the way they would have.
I doubt that this was intentional. I don't
think it was.
I mean, what you're saying is that this was a really strategic idea.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying no, but I didn't say that, Koki. It's not a big deal.
Right.
But I'm saying if it gets the North Koreans guessing a little bit, that's an advantage as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I think they're guessing about a lot.
I think North Korea's guessing is one thing. I think that the Chinese, who know where our boats are, are scratching their heads saying, well, how come they don't know where their boats are? And that's something I'm not sure that's helpful.
Do you think the Chinese are actually saying that? Because I think what the Chinese are saying is, son of a bitch, we're going up against somebody
We don't know
that's like
what
us.
this guy.
Like we're going up against an American president that doesn't play by the rules.
No,
Now, that may be bad, that may be good, but I do not think the Chinese think for 1 second that we've lost one of our ships.
No,
they're thinking that we're using the sort of deception they use.
Well, deception is one thing. What Caddy said is the incompetence question. Right. Do they actually know where their boats are? Why are they saying this thing? And they're scratching theirs. The Chinese play a long game. Richard will know this better than I will. But they look at this and think, do they actually have an intent here, or is this something that they simply don't understand what they're doing?
Richard,
administration.
Richard, the Chinese obviously have to be intelligent enough and sophisticated enough to know that Donald Trump was projecting strength to the world and that we did not lose an aircraft carrier, that we knew exactly where it was, and we were playing a game with the North Koreans.
Or not.
The issue is actually, Joe, less the Chinese reaction. I assume they think we know where our aircraft carriers are. It's part of a larger story where they find us almost impossible to read right now, which, as you say, may not be the worst thing. And the real problem here is South Korea. They're in the middle of a presidential campaign. You've got some highly nationalist candidates running. Right. If the nationalist candidate wins, it will make it far, far more difficult for the United States to sustain a tough policy towards North Korea. And that's the problem here. We can't have an independent policy towards North Korea that's independent of South Korea, given the millions of people, say, who live in Seoul who would be in range of North Korean artillery if there ever was a confrontation. So we've got to make sure we keep Japan and South Korea on board. And the dilemma here is the unpredictability that you're talking about that may help us with China or North Korea hurts us with our allies. And that's something the administration has got to internalize.
But Richard, let me ask you on the allies front, and the allies that you have spoken to over the past month or two, do they like where U.S. foreign policy is going more than they did under the Obama administration?
Well, the allies in the Middle East like the tougher anti-Iran rhetoric and bias, obviously. That's true. The Israelis and the Saudis and the UAE are happy with it. Europeans, by and large, are uneven with the anti-EU, uncertain about Russia, uncertain about NATO policy. I think in Asia, the South Koreans and the Japanese, I think the Japanese are more comfortable than the South Koreans is the way I'd put it. So it's an uneven picture. I think also the president hurt himself in Asia by taking the United States out on day one from the big Asian-Pacific trade agreement, which everyone else had paid a political price to join. Look, they are having real problems understanding this administration, which is qualitatively different, Joe, than any American administration they've ever experienced.
Right. All right. Still ahead on Morning Joe. We'll continue this conversation, but we have to get to the fall of Bill O'Reilly. We'll talk about the huge implications in the media landscape. Plus,
thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.